This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Tuesday morning edition, Hot Mic rolls on. You'll meet NDSU's newest transfer football player coming up in about a half hour. Day 3 of the Major League Baseball draft will get going at 1 o'clock today. Could be a couple local guys, including former Bison pitcher Joey Danielson hearing his name called. We'll update you on that. But as we mentioned off the top, the big sporting event of tonight will take place in Arlington, Globe Life Park, the site of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, and West Fargo, North Dakota will be represented. As we told you last week, Matt Strahm was selected as a National League All-Star, one of the 28 Phillies. I say that begrudgingly as a Mets fan that's going to the All-Star Game. Quite the road for the young man from West Fargo. Of course, came up with the Kansas City Royals, traded to the Padres, had a nice career there, went to Boston, and boy, he's become a superstar with the Philadelphia Phillies. Our pleasure to welcome back his old coach, his high school coach, joins us, Brett Peterson, the head coach of the Packers this morning. So where were you when you found out your old, well, he played a couple different positions for you, that he was a National League All-Star?
You know, I was at home and, you get all those texts right away. I got a text from about 3 different people right away when they found out. And, it was really, really cool to get that news. Very happy for him and all the work he's done. It's a well-deserved honor.
So we had Steve Murray from Neosho on last week, and I didn't know the backstory there, but so you can maybe connect the two of when Neosho got interested. Brett, take us into that. What do you remember about when they started talking to Matt?
They started talking to me in high school. I think he had a really good junior year and, a nice Legion season in between his junior and senior year, and kind of really came into his own, his senior year. I think from a velocity standpoint, his numbers probably didn't jump out so much, but you could see just with his frame and, just how he would locate pitches and mix speeds. I think that's what really excited them. And then I think that, just given his size and given how pitchers tend to develop beyond high school, I think it was one of those cases where if the velocity came, you were going to have a pretty special pitcher, and that's kind of exactly how it's all played out.
Do you remember what was the hardest he threw in high school for you?
Honestly, we were talking about that the other day, and I think he probably topped out low 80s, kind of that 83, 84, 85. So again, it isn't one of those numbers that would jump out at all. But, what made him such an effective high school pitcher was just his mixing of speeds and just his able to hit spots. If we wanted to attack a hitter on the inside part of the plate, he could do it. And same thing with the outside part. So, I think those were the tools that he had that probably excited some of those college scouts right away. And, the velocity came later, and, the rest is kind of history.
Was there a moment or moments that popped out to you to say, okay, there's something here that he can do this beyond the college level? Did that ever appear to you?
I think that just what I kind of, it's fun as a high school coach. You kind of follow the college careers of some of these guys. I get those tabs on my computer and just see. And then, in this day and age, you're able to see so much video. So I think what you just kind of saw with him was every year, just the increase in velocity. I think that's kind of what we started thinking, hey, he's got a chance here at the next level, because now he's mid to upper 80s. And then all of a sudden, couple of years later, he's in that 90-degree range. That's sort of your magic number. And then especially coming from the left-hand side, right, that really makes it even all the more a possibility to, to play at that next level.
We have some photos from him from our friends at the Forum when he was at West Fargo. How much did he weigh, honestly, when he was pitching for you?
Honestly, he probably wasn't much more than a 140, 150. I mean, he was that skinny, tall, lanky guy, but just kind of that pit, is kind of one of those kids you look at that you just think, hey, he's got kind of that pitcher frame, and again, then coming from the left side, it's just naturally, especially at the high school level, it's just tougher on hitters to face that lefty that's, even not a huge guy, but just kind of an intimidating presence on the mound.
Did he ever have like a wow high school moment that comes to mind, like a game or performance?
The thing with him, he was in high school, he was just as good an offensive player.
Yeah,
I
remember
that.
In
the middle of our lineup. So I can honestly point to a lot more offensive games, maybe even than pitching games. But, we got into postseason in his senior year. His EDC tournament game probably stands out the most. He was just kind of that kind of that guy that, went out and just went, he could go toe to toe with everybody else, but he was sort of one of those, he did it all kind of guys in high school. He wasn't just, a pitcher.
Can you confirm or deny that he's not cut his hair since high school? Do we know that?
It sure doesn't look like it, right? I have a feeling he probably has, but no, I bet you it's been a while since that's been done.
Describe, I was there in Philly to see the whole Chris Coast phenomenon and the Carson Wentz phenomenon. It's beyond me that another guy from North Dakota is now being embraced in Philadelphia, and now it's Matt Strahm. It's unbelievable.
It really kind of is that Philadelphia connection. Obviously last fall, he has an opportunity to be a part of the World Series, which is an unbelievable thing. Not every player can say that, but I almost wonder if this isn't as big a deal, if not bigger, to be an all-star selection. It's I think he kind of alluded to it in one of the interviews I read. Traditionally, your pitchers are your starting pitchers and your closers. For him, the role that he has on that team to be selected as an all-star, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, right? I mean, his ERA is below 1.5. His WHIP is well under 1. I think he's just under 12 strikeouts per 9. So the numbers speak for themselves. But to have that kind of that late inning relief role be recognized as an all-star, it's a pretty cool accomplishment for him.
You're right, because setup guys are not all-stars. It just doesn't have, unless you have like a tremendous amount of holes. Even that, you still get looked over. The fact that he got there, that's remarkable. That tells you how good his peers and other managers think he is.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many middle relievers have been selected in history, but I'm guessing it's any. And the game has changed a lot too. I think that maybe guys like him are going to get recognized more. I mean, more and more teams are asking 5-6 innings from their starters, and then you turn it over, and elite bullpens right now is what's winning divisions and championships. And there's no question that he's an elite bullpen guy, in that late inning role.
All right, so we're going to show a piece of video from last week when he got in the game against, of all guys, Brett, he struck out Shohei Ohtani. When you saw that, what went through your mind? He struck out Ohtani.
I know. It's just, I think for like me and you watching, it's just, you feel like he's probably in awe, but I think he's been doing this long enough now where, he's just going to go compete against anybody. But yeah, I mean, that he's not a guy that strikes out very often. And he's one of the most offensive players, that I've ever seen. And I think in the history of the game, right? And he strikes them out. And the Phillies just had a tremendous series overall against the Dodgers there. It was kind of a statement series for that time of the year. But yeah, it doesn't get much better than that when you're going up literally the best in the game right now.
I want that tonight. I don't know if that can happen. If he's going to get in the game, I hope he gets in the game because there's 18,000 pitchers. But can we have that repeat tonight in front of a national audience? Would be something else.
Oh, it really would. It really would. And you get into a game like tonight, the All-Star game. If he does get in, he's going to be facing someone elite, right? I mean, every guy that's in there, they're there for a reason. So yeah, it would just make for just a continued great story for him to get in there and compete against, whoever it is that he would see at the plate.
If it's him against Soto, him against Judge, give me anything. Sign me up, right?
Yeah. Take care of those Yankees for sure, right?
What is the reaction? What do you think it's going to be like tonight? Do you know, are there watch parties tonight in West Fargo? Anything special going on tonight?
That's a good question. You and I were talking about this. This kind of comes up so fast. It's not one of those things that you have a lot of time to prepare for. But I mean, there's definitely going to be one in my house. I'll tell you that. We got family coming over and some people coming over. So yeah, this is going to be kind of a big deal. I mean, I watch this every year, but this obviously just has a much more meaning to it. And it was just at the local angle, and this with Matt being there, it just makes it all the more special.
I have an email to ask you. Was he a fan of baseball cards when he played for you? Was that something that you noticed about him?
It really isn't. That's not something. I think that's something that I'm sure he was a collector. I think that's something that it's sort of a lost art. He's kind of bringing that back, right? I mean, my friends and I, any money that we had left over, we'd buying baseball cards. But I think it's probably something that's grown over time. But I'm guessing that he was, but it wasn't something that was, discussed much or brought up when he was in high school.
It's unbelievable. He's got his own show on it. If you would have told me when he was in high school that Matt Strahm would have his own TV show, You could have bet. I could have bet all the money in the world on that would never happen.
Right. And I mean, it's so fun to watch too, because I mean, you can just see how passionate he is.
Yes.
You know, even before the TV show, you know, following him on Twitter, he would just open up different boxes of cards at different stadiums that he was in. You know, so I mean, it's just he's genuinely passionate about it, and it's really fun to watch that show.
Do you think, and from your conversations with him, does he have any not regret, but does he miss being a starter?
I you know, obviously in high school he was a starter, and you know, she was a starter, and he started out his career as a starter.
Yep.
And you know, I think I am thinking that this is kind of a role now that he's settled into. You know, when you go through from being a starter to reliever, that's not an easy adjustment, because it's such a different mindset. You know, when you're a starter, you know exactly when you're going to throw, and the preparation becomes a routine. You know, when you're with that relief guy, it could be any night, especially when you're a seventh inning, eighth inning guy like he is. It could be multiple nights, because you know you're not going to get that pitch count that maybe you were if you're a closer, where you have to take a day or two off. So I'm going to guess, without him actually saying it, I don't think he has too many regrets. I think he's kind of relishing this role now of being that guy that comes in and just dominates late innings. And I mean, he's helping his team win and get to the postseason World Series last year. I mean, it's I think it's now more as an important a role as a starter, maybe even more important, just given the way the game is right now. So I think he's very happy with where he's at.
A couple minutes left here with Brett. You got to see Drew Rarick up close and personal. Is he the next big thing for baseball in North Dakota?
Oh, I think so. It just, in all the years I've been with high school baseball in some capacity in North Dakota now for 25 years, and we've never seen velocity like that. You know, we faced him twice this spring. And, you know, the first time when they were in West Fargo, you know, all the scouts in the stands, and we're getting after the game reports of the radar gun, and he's still hitting mid 90s in the fifth, sixth inning. So that's just something we haven't seen. You know, it's still a big deal if you face a guy that's touching 90, right? That's a pretty big deal in high school. And here he is mid 90s with a mid 80s slider to boot. I mean, that's just something that high school kids don't see. So, yeah, I definitely think, you know, we'll hear his name called, and his upside, his ceiling is very high.
Brett, how big of a deal was it? He was here in studio with me on Friday for him to pitch North Dakota high school ball this year. You mentioned it, the scouts there. How big a deal was he to be back here facing his brethren and to put North Dakota high school baseball on the map that it hasn't been before?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, I think high school baseball in North Dakota is really, really in a good place. I mean, there's some good players. And, you know, you normally, just from a perception wise from scouts, you don't think you're going to churn out baseball players here, because we have winter 7 months out of the year, you know. But I think with the indoor facilities that a lot of teams have now and programs have, it becomes more of an opportunity where you don't have to be outside the whole time to really make those jumps. And yeah, I mean, it's huge. He definitely put high school baseball on the map, and it was just a super competitive spring all the way around. And yeah, it was definitely a good thing for him to be back his senior year.
Hey, I really appreciate the time. Before I let you go, when you see the lineups announced and see him out there, hear his name, what do you think the emotions will be for you tonight?
Man, it's unbelievable. It's you get chill. I get chills just with you saying it right now, you know, and that's not even watching it. So I think that's definitely going to be just one of those, you know, just seeing him out there, even just seeing him out there, just watching, you know, last night, the Derby gives me chills. I mean, I think the experience just has to be unbelievable for him. And I think, you know, get in the game tonight or not, I mean, well, obviously we all hope he does, but I think the experience is just going to be a once in a lifetime thing for him.
If you got back in the batter's box with him, could you get a hit right now? Now?
No chance. No.
Did you do that when he was playing for you?
Yeah, honestly, back when he was playing, I was still young enough, but sometimes I would kind of jump in there if we needed a batter to stand in. But you know, I can't. Honestly, when you watch it on TV, I can't imagine a mid-90s fastball and then that kind of slider coming at you. I'd be jumping out of the box no matter where it was.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Enjoy tonight, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks a lot for having me.
Brett Peterson, West Fargo baseball coach, joining us. Matt Strahm's old coach at West Fargo. What a night it's going to be out there, and to see him, which another part of the All-Star game is everybody gets announced. Everybody comes out to the respective baseline, and from the Philadelphia Phillies, pitcher Matt Strahm. That's going to be a neat deal. And can't wait to see that unfold later tonight with the game on Fox. We're over to break. We had a couple emails, including some Joe Garagiola cleanup on the game show he hosted. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns. We're back after this.